Tisu tinofana kubvunza kuti chamisa smart city iri kupi munangagwa todiko nenyika iyi nehanda yakasikana ona zvotoitwa iwewe uripo nehanda yakasikana.
Hurricane Henrietta, who is making headlines, she has overturned a tomato vendor store in town and a garden chair in Hillside.
Aibudo handiti vakandisarura ndimwi navamwe vosavu handiti Welcome to the program that brings you dialogue and understanding of issues in Zimbabwe, be they political, social, or economic. The program is proudly brought to you in partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation and Heart and Soul TV and Radio. And I am your host, Dara B. Blessed Mhlanga, and this is the Free Talk. We are joined by a cast of amazing characters, a cast of excellence, if I should say, because this week we are examining how important is satire and comedy in building democracy in any nation. And the faces that join me are amazing comedians and comic writers who have over the past kept Zimbabweans laughing at their own political problems. And we are going to be examining their role and how they feel that they are building or bringing development to this nation. I'm joined Nevakuru. Magadiva Kuru. Hi viewers, how are you? I don't know whether I should address you as Vakuru Vacho or as me. I think, hi guys, how are you doing? Tofara, and I'm Chifara, Kutingo balance.
I'm also joined by DRC.
Congo.
Dara
Hi guys, my name is Derek Nziakwi from Bastop TV. Yep.
And the character that we have all seen mostly on Zambezi TV, the imbibers, liberated, outspoken, here also with us in the studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, comrade. Saka emnemda ndizotsvagwa.
As you can see, this show is going to be an amazing cast of exchanging ideas and comedy as well. I'm considering joining comedy myself at this moment, but I will start with you, Outspoken. The topic at hand. What do you think is the role of comedy and satire in a democracy?
In a democracy or in achieving democracy? I think primarily how I got involved with satire was identifying it as a tool or actual coping mechanism initially for myself. I think it's a way that you can cope with pressures and excuse me, and a harsher reality that you might be living. Growing up in Zimbabwe and not being based anywhere else for such a long space of time, you realize that you endure many hardships. You go from the one mawan to another mawan. And so it can be difficult to discuss a scenario that you're actually facing. He's living with him not having a leg the entire time. So bringing it up as well is not necessarily doing much to his scenario. So for me, what satire and comedy offered was a vehicle where you can relook and reshape your reality in ways that are more palatable, it's more digestible and relatable. Because some issues, they're complex. It's hard to actually engage in what the solution can be in certain scenarios. So what comedy does, it's simplifying, bringing it back to where the people reside in languages that people understand. So I think it's that coping mechanism and also a vehicle to pass on a message in a more relatable way.
As artists, as content creators, we're playing our role. As Masawira Parufu, Tiriparufu right now, but Tesatika Chema, then it means Tichafane depression, Tichafane Shakawanda. So we are playing a role. It didn't start with us. 1963, Miriam Makeba, now no Taurapas, UN Special Committee, it was her. After that, young South Africa, in the role of art in our society. During that time, South Africans, I'll pick my examples of South Africa, Nasarafina, Asnamali, Sizabans is dead, the island. During that time, it was more like protest art, but they were reflecting what was happening in their community. So it doesn't make sense for us to tell about Matetsi, because pana afford Matetsi 1,300 a night. So we always reflect what is happening in our society.
You assume that I don't have 1,000.
No, if you have, it means it's either uri uku kana uri uku. Yeah, it's. I'm
sitting in it. One was Maria
But His Excellency, Excellency. Now, do you think democracy can exist or can be built without comedy and satire?
Has gone. So I'm split here because
it's all right. Be yourself.
Yeah, because if again Bobis don't fake and don't I'm split here, right? So what I outspoken has outspoke is the I think is the baseline of why we are all doing what we are doing, right? So in a democracy, if you don't have satirists, Jadakwa, ku MDC, Kuzanu PF, ku MDC A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Kawanda, kwese kukandika, ku G40, ku Chi, there are individuals who are known to poke fun at leadership. Within the same structures, there are people who are known to gather around. Those people are us. You see? So comedy, haikwanise kushaikwa panu, pane gathering, pane anything that you might think of. Comedy has to be there as a reliever, tension. Bananopera kurwana nenyere. Because apana mna good if it's a situation. Inini ndo seka angu, anditi ndo feka angu scarf, anditi ndo tavura savakuru. Vanhu vo seka asi daiti sina kuzvitaura. There was going to be a lot of tension kuvanhu. Yezvi ndikaipfeka yanditi, yezvi ndikatoti hai tafara tavuya pano tina vanzi yakwe anditi DRC ndo wedu takamboenda DRC gore riya chatauri asi munoziva anditi takanomora but ndikadaroka pana vanhu vachaseka because there is a hearsay yekuti kwakaenda kukanomogwa kupi kuDRC ina ndataura zveDRC ndareva izvi handiti the same neZambezi kuti hai Zambezi tulimpopo tichingotonga handiti ekazungula takaisapo nekuti Zambezi nderedu chero vakadii takaimba tikati Zambezi save Limpopo ndedu saka kazungula iri kuyambuka nepedu saka ndedu. When I say that it's we are starting a conversation even within the power corridors. They will watch that skit and they will talk about what we have discussed. You see, so comedy is very, very necessary. You know, in my checks and balances. If you remember the French Revolution, pakapinda vana Jacobins and we want a government where in my checks and balances. But what they were talking about is padama checks and balances. Isusu, we are there to do that. The week. When he's talking about saying, so this week, HStvZim Mbare, he speaks to what HStvZim Mbare has misstepped on. He speaks to what Nick Mangwana has misstepped on. So these are the things that even when we're in opposition, they are part of that democracy. So as comedians, we capture everyone in the same breath. Atina mutunera san, atina no tuka, atina no nyomba. As kuti, we are saying we are bringing these issues for zitaugwe. Zataugwaga. Pachatova a great much of change from what we have presented as an artistic presentation.
Amazing. I want to keep this conversation as informal as possible so that we can have a learning curve. This is not one of those interviews with Pisana and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, outspoken. Do you think that in Zimbabwe we are giving comedy its rightful place and respect that it should have?
I think comedy in Zimbabwe is in a precarious position because Zimbabwe machumuni mawan. So you find that sometimes where comedy is supposed to offer relief, it might actually come across as being insulting. At a time when someone is trying to break the tension or bring about a situation in a more understandable way, serious jokes. So I think you have pockets where there is a misunderstanding of what is some of the driving factors or the reasons for the comedy. And I think on the other end of the spectrum is that the situation in Mawan.
Yes.
So looking at the industry itself, it's no different from any other industry in Zimbabwe. Like there are many areas where it's waning. There are many areas where people will prefer to consume foreign original content as much as foreign original products in the supermarket. So the competitiveness and the space in which comedy can flourish or grow is also limited by those risk factors on as an industry, but then also how it is consumed by individuals. Some see the relief in it, some think it's misplaced, it's not the right time for us to be doing comedy. You know, so it's a very precarious scenario where I don't feel it can exist without the proper understanding in the Zim context, but also as an industry, I feel it's a long ways away, just because of like the precarious scenario at here.
You have a bus stop TV. You have suffered one of your own being abducted, and you have also been labeled agents of the West. And pamambo taura pa vanoziva prize vakapiwa 2 million ndofunga ndo yavakanora
vakaenda kwegwi kuma islands anditi vakanofundiswa asai vanhu vanenge vachingospekulata nokuti asi toda kutanga tataura vanhu vachiwa kuti zvokumwisana soja zvina kunaka nditi hazviiti nokuti comedy kudla kwavanhu vose ukaona watsamwa necomedy siva kuti wakufanira kugadzira chataugwa chaunofunga kuti ndiwanga uchirehwa hanzi inonzi yakaturikwa anzi anyumwa berende rake kuvhunduka chatikwatara ungeonei kai katurikwa. Taura yenyu vanzi yako ndakubirai.
1.5 actually. 1.5. Wakanditarisa 1.5 ikasvika ndaenda kutoti nyenyenyenyenyenyenyenye.
Dasiri pano.
Ndaisiri parapa. But we are used to it. We are used to that, and that cheap politics, propaganda, manipulated information. That cheap. We are used to that, and that it doesn't mean we are working. But unfortunately, one of our actresses, Samantha Korea, was abducted, and during that time, I was even my comrades in our media fraternity, they were selling that stupid idea with Mbare, and I'll mention Tichaona Mazuaja angari sub-editor who Herald.
Actually
the editor, and that guy Tiger Timona all the time, and he was the one who was fueling that cheap propaganda. Where is he right now? Titese, we are Tabuchema the same things. Tabuchema the same thing. Tese. Saka echidzidzo chikuru kune vamwe vachiri ikoko vachiri kudya mafufu. Aya mafufu paanopera tinozongwabva tese futi still.
Yeah. But coming to you, Dr. Vikela, where's the safety after you do what you do? I look at you. You have gone out to target, His Excellency, to bring fun and relief as to what he does. But don't you fear that there are some people who look at you as insulting?
Kuningashla kusirova. Andikazvirovi. Nokuti kana ndakadai ndini handiti kana ndikatozvirova kuzvirova kana kuzvisunga. Zvinokazvisunga unenge uchitoratidza nyika yose kuti hai ndazvisunga ndakundikana. Saka ini ndongoita nekuziva kuti kungosungwa kuzvisunga. Kungorova kuzvirova. Saka I think ndo pazviri. Uye nokuti isu ndataura ndikati ati insult. Ndoda kuti mundotarira mabasa edu tiri vatatu, Simuka Comedy, Bustop TV, Magamba TV, mukawana one piece of work that was done that is insulting. Ndotaura taibodo ndakutosiya scarf, ndakusiya nyika handiti kurwati scarf ichapfekiswa chose. Ani ndogasha ndingataurira vamwe vanenge vachikupada 2030 vanenge vachipo. Asi the issue is ndataura nyaya kuti inenge iri misread. I've had individuals who have come to me vachitaura kuti ucharowa zvekuti heki, and then I would ask them ndichirowerwei, but how is kupfeka scarf izvi? And I'm like, saka iwe utaura kuti kupfeka scarf nekutaura karanga zvinorovesa. I want to understand, right? Musi wandakabuda ini ndichiti pamusoro yenyika yeZimbabwe ndauya pano ini ndakuwanzira president Mnangagwa. Hapana pandakadaro. If I am doing satire that speaks to power, vakuru venyika vakapfeka scarf yavo vachikureketa nechikaranga chavo chinova chikaranga chandotaura handiti ndataura nyaya yetsvimbo handiti handataura nyaya yetsvimbo ndakabata tsvimbo yangu yandapuwa handiti tsvimbo yekuti pamwe sekuru vashaya ndisekuru vangu handiti so hamusikuru panaka tine bhachi nesvimbo bata svimbo yangu handiti tanga kudlila chikafu changu chiti aibodo vana vangu zvanaka. What exactly have I insulted there? Nothing, right? But what we are speaking to is because there's something chiri kutrend out there chikutaura nezvetsvimbo hatisati tadziona tsvimbo dzacho handitika iwo wakumanya kuti ndavhundutsirwa ndo vanhu ivavo manje handitika kwete vanoda kupleasa power zvachitaura neuyu kuti atani tichaona handisana muona hangu tautozomuona chatuma vakomana kuti vagona tichaona kana amanya achinonyora ndiye anowarida kupleasa munhu anoda kupleasa iye ega pamwe munhu iye hatorina basa nechinhu ichocho pamwe achiona akaseka interpretation yake. You understand, Aditi? I'll tell you, there was a Magamba skit that was done by King Kandoro, where you were saying, and the president was laughing at it. And whether he was laughing in earnest or I say, gosh, we don't know. But I take solace in saying, skiti yoyo. But why are you speaking on behalf of someone who is already laughing at that? You see, so as a satirist, I produce content every day on issues that are happening around. It's a sure.
And it's not you who create those issues.
Yes, it's not me. Kana inini ndaenda paita issue yekuti zvibridge zvatasangana nazvo zvitete handiti inini ndiri kudza vanhu kuti zvamuri kuti zvibridge izvozvo tsapata rukuku hazvienzani nosina handiti wanga uchabva kujere muna makarwa norumwa nengwena saka zvibridge izvozvi zvigamuchirei ndo zvedu. So when I say that, did I insult anyone?
I mean, even when you say when we have a skit or a series, there is lack of electricity, hakuna mvura, hatina mara, hakuna maroads. Tunotengwa, unoda kutengwa kuti titaura kuti hakuna fuel, hakuna maroads, hakuna democracy in Zimbabwe. Toda kutengwa here kuti titaura about that. Now
I think you may, Netsa, kuti we may come across as like targeting individuals or targeting certain scenarios. Response yacho ndeyekuti zvinova zvanzi comedy and satire is a threat. But if you remove...
Are you not threatening power? Because in essence, you are at least telling the truth that other people don't want told. So for instance, I'll give you an example. You here at Magamba had a skit on the opening of Kazungula, and I think you're opening it somewhere there.
Yep.
You didn't say
allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, alleging.
You didn't say anything.
That's your interpretation.
Yes.
But what people saw would have been a direct attack to them. You saying that the message sent out that we own the bridge is not true.
Well, this is the thing. So in terms of like just looking at it holistically, once you say comedy or satire, is it not a threat? Like when you question that, I think the actual threat to power is not addressing certain issues that we bring to light. So if you remove comedians, those issues will still be there. They will still need to be addressed. And the threat, the threat they pose to power will remain. So you find, yes, we might appear as bobbing heads. But apasi papa problem ndeyekuti mutepa hamuna mvura. Iyo ndoyoda kutaura, ndoyoda kuadresswa. Now if you're going to take resources and say okay, manpower yagonombobatsira in addressing this issue, yonzi chimbonaisai munhu uyu.
I think the role of art in our society, be it music, sculpture, comedy, theater, film, the role of art is do my issues. There's no way we can do. That's why from my introduction, I talked about HStvZim during the apartheid regime. South Africans vakapedzisira vakuita protest theater because vaigara vari in that situation all the time. If you have seen uzoenda unoona the way yavaita nasina mali, even in Zimbabwe, Contemplanga akaita na attitudes members during that time, those are topical issues dziripo dzichiitika ikoko. Saka isusu during this time tokutaura zvatiri kuona, it might be something bad kunevo vanozviita, but ndo magariro edu atinoita every day. Because you katombo experience that hakuna mvura, hakuna democracy, tine one television, chichichi zvese izvozvo, if you present it as zvirevo kuti tiri kupoka someone or whatever.
Ndoda kuti ndisati ndakangamwa mataura nyaya yethreat, ndoda kudzora ndibve ndacorrecta perception. Isu hatigadziri tichiti i-threat. Iwe unoona ndiwe unoona threat. Nenyaya yekuti iwe uri kufila threat. So I will explain. Munhu ari kuZhombe akaona skiti yangu unoumburuka pasi nesaka mfano. umwari kuno kugrindira kwavanobva ati zvoni henaro vaya mpana unzwisa handiti. So there are two sides to a coin, right? There are people who see a bus stop skid and say wafana mukutaura nyaya development wafana wakufarisa handiti. But now ndoda kutora away from what you guys call politics. Politics is the state of affairs yenyika handiti, but ndoda kutora from the politics yenyu yekuti MDC is hanu chichichi ndo politics adzotaura muZimbabwe. Ndoda kuti ndikutorere topoya a different individual with money, let's say company X, and they say, you know what, Doc, brilliant, what you're doing is brilliant, we want you to do this campaign for us, but within the same breadth of that character, right? So what I'm doing in the arts, because I've created a character, I'm reaching out to the populace for that product, not as an embodiment of what you think I'm a threat. Right now, am I a threat to anyone when I'm saying you won't need a business ray go down to some tomatoes and it don't is only dara tomatoes and it muto dara tomato and it my wakavurunga wakavika kudai no kutapiri bus kuteki and it my and people rush to buy that and it izvo zvasiyana nekuti makomba wanda and it ndeve position and it me highlighting issue potholes in that ceremony that tuka here because the story of potholes asinda mutaura zvematomatisi. We are conveying messages given what we observe and what we see or situations that have been brought before us. Saka the way they run my comedians, they threat power, they attack, we never do that. We are observers, we observe, we create and then we cascade.
We are the mirror of the society. We are the mirror of the society. We reflect what is happening in our society.
Society
We are the mirror of the society. Yes, we are not me as jealousy, but we are saying arts, you know, arts like comedy, like content creators. We are more like the mirror of the society. We reflect what is happening in our society and put it there. You know. It depends the connotation, it depends the interpretation, different interpretation. Even as three magamba bus stop and simuka tikanzi comedy kuti kushayikwa kutikanzi skit yekushayikwa kwemvura zvinobuda in a different way.
Yes. But it's certain Mbare, I want us to discuss something I think that's very important. That hairstyle.
It's very critical. It's of national importance, comrades.
Yes.
We need to find closure. No, comrades, you see, ne lockdown mababa anodhura and anobva ashayikwa kana ari kunzi auya kudheni kwako. Saka I was like, no, it's okay. I'll live and let live. And here we are, comrades.
Ende ukavona rakanongedza nokutondeka nyika yose anditi kuna Jehovha anditi kuna Mswatunyi imwe Binga imwe Bikita imwe Zaka chopasi icho chikanongedza vhuredu renyika yerifa nyika mbeyana ndowedu ndo munhu anditi uyeye kana muchimuvona mukavona mofunga kuti pane paachada kuuraya Zimbabwe marashika anditi paya pamukutaura spirit yekuvaka nyika torai ruoko rwake torai mahwa ake mutamba nawo nokuti zvaanotaura uyu rudzidziso rwe how you are doing things. You are there in the chair of power. Listen to what satirists are saying. Teerera zvekutaura naSawira. Ukanzwa maSawira akuti padeni pako apa iwe nyati uyo wakati chii chako ukaona vobvunza nezvanyati stereki chito tsvaka chikirimbani handiti wesasvi cheese kana wesasvi nzungu kuti nyati abahwe nekuti nyati unogona ngari kubhaguja nomudzimai wako ende uye kana mukadzi abhagujwa naye imba yaparara. Saka ukaona vakomana maSawira votaura vadane kuti imi muri kuti chii kwemwe kana kuti varegere varambe vachiita nokuti iwe uchiteerera nokuti havamiri kutaura.
In South Africa, they have celebrated their comedians to the extent that we have people like Trevor Noah, we have Chester Missing. We've actually seen Chester Missing interviewing those who are in the echelons of power in South Africa. We've had art being celebrated, the Mkonto Wesizwe and the like. What do you think it should take for Zimbabwe to get to that level where our political leaders do not see threat, as we were talking about, and see a platform for social discourse in a lighter manner?
Now, I think this is where I was also like reflecting. I think the lighter manner caught me, right? I think it's the lighter manner being juxtaposed with the seriousness of the situation. I think that perception yet threat is amplified by the seriousness of a situation. So that's when optics are very, very critical to a person who feels under threat. I think having a very fair discourse would be hard to achieve if there aren't enough defense mechanisms in the person who's under threat's corner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think we can have a frank conversation, but because apana like that level of threat in Ngeripo. But if someone has some proverbial thing to lose, right, or something at stake, I think it's not going to say. I think information plays a very critical role in how a country is governed. The access to information, what kind of information is accessible, who is the source of that information. I think these are all things that are very critical to how, dare I say, propaganda machinery is run, right? So opening up a space for very frank conversations might counter that sort of approach or ideology. I think it would be counterproductive to the scenario we are in, if that makes sense. It wouldn't make sense to me if I was in the position that certain comrades are in.
Yes.
Like in terms of like the cost or the benefit of having those kinds of conversations. I think in spaces where there are more places where dialogue is able to happen, maybe in even smaller scales, it's something that's more common. But here, questioning is passion. But I think like frank conversations, it's I think we're still in that space.
I think even developing what Outspoken is highlighted is, I think the government of Zimbabwe owes it to the creative industry. Do you know, it doesn't kill them to close their mouths. I wanted to say shut up, and I will not do tevegu. So because the thing is, the day they realize that we don't have any financial backing to be able to highlight the issues that are happening, is the day they will say, let's set up a fund that enables the creative industry to grow. You know, the creative industry in Zimbabwe in a zero budget. But in South Africa, Department of Trade, watch movies. Trevor, no, one of his special. Young guy told me logo Department of Trade, but special imomo anga famba na bazuma. Famba na church. But paruk famba na bazuma and it's comedy that speaks to power, speaks truth to power. At the same time, it's creating the president as an accessible person. And it kuna tu vanotliwa chama kwindinyu and it achata vari vadhara vedu muvaza vadhara waitipo pano ndingangutaura zita ravo ndinozoti kubuda kwaro mangwana ka ndiye ndambotsukira mishana. So it's kuti government, if they feel that bus stop iri kufarisa, if they ever sit down with us and say, guys, as you do your satire, because nothing will stop us from doing satire, mind you. Chero vakayani 2 million yanzi bus stop ina vakaisa apa tinoti imaita henyu asatiregi. Why? Because ours is making sure we speak truth to power, number one. Number two, when the constitution is being slaughtered and dissected in a manner that is uncouth and it bodos achiso chirangano kaichi. Why? Because we represent the 15 million. Yakazosvika pa 15 and say takapedza right pa 14. And pa lockdown pa hanzi apa 15 million.
Progress.
So it's also we are saying constitution yamakuda ku dissect ndedu aisi yenyu and it kana iri imimi torova ZZ anditi chikomana chonakidza fani ZZ chakambo rashika mazuva apfuura asi hachotsoka mungwara va ZZ anditi toti nava KK ukaona kwese kuri kunikira kuna ZZ kuna KK anditi kwasara kuti totamara pemura pamenda zvapinda paMM next so kuti home affairs nejustice tikangoona kuti vari kuresva we will never stop speaking to power. Why? Because vanogona kufunga kuti vari kugona ivo vachikanganisa because hapana munhu kuzvitaura. Saka isusu tikapuwa nzimapuwa chakati naye mindonyarara kana munhu achitakura handbag ye6 kg every day zvinosvika pakuti anosvika paairport neisiriyo
kaya
unzwisa kuti hanzi ndakatakura handbag isiriyo yairema 6 kg kureva kuti muupenyu hwake munhu wakasimba zvokuti every day unongotakura 6 kg zvakati aiwa zvimusadaro munozvikuvadza unoita mhasuru unzwisa kuti point haisitomborei kuairport point ndi pakuti vakati ndakatakura handbag isiriyo handiti takuti isu but handbag yairema 6 kg kureva kuti upenyu hwapo hwose vanongotakura handbag ye6 kg aiwa musadaro munokuvara munoita mhasuru muri munochidzimai zvikashaya mwero handiti chiitai kuti mutapudze makgs muhandbag pamwe iwo pamwe mune shuga mune munyu pamwe maosagwa gorodhi yanga iri mistake but kuti ma6 kg aya ngasawanikwa ari muhandbag nokuti hatsana mbona mukadzi mutakura. So when we speak about those issues gondo kunobuya handiti vachena ne 500 grams tapona.
So the issue is when you start to compare, it's unfair. I've seen a lot in circles where music, theater, film, compare on other thriving economy like Namibia, South Africa. South Africa has structures. In Zimbabwe, we don't have structures. What kind of a business runs business? Renate what is supported by a government. And even gold, and the government, we are supporting the small miners because there's hakuna kwanorarama vasina iyo varuchera gold. My farmers, we have seen RBZ echanela millions of dollars kufumvudza echipa ma farmers ariko ndopi muswa kamodza Minister of Arts achitaura kuti zvataurwa nema-comedians ndeizvi zvataurwa ne-theatre zvataurwa ne-film sector ndeizvi achipresenta muparliament ndirini hamuna. Saka it's more like ceremonial ministry nemurungu akazoiswa uyu tafa hapana zvikutomboitika. They see us as kuti topuwa ma-handouts tazosangana nemamisichenzi tikanzwa kuti covid yazodai tavapa $1,000 ma-handouts. We don't survive nema-handouts. We want ma-structures ariko like the way ataura kuti trade and industry inenge irimo zvakawanda mndani.
Paraffin na outspoken vane musiyano yes or no? Paraffin na outspoken vane musiyano aiwa ndoda kuti iwo sokuvona kwako vane musiyano here paraffin na outspoken in terms of their humor vane musiyano.
Okay.
In terms of humor havana handiti nokuti iwo ukatondera iwe handiti I was watching content yavo vakomana vaya these previous weeks. I've been trying to see kuti ndepari tikunzi takarashika hatamborashika isi tiri mugwara. Paraffin waitaura nezve ISAP paZBC achitaura nezvekuti vekanzuri ivavo tiri kuenda ikoko kudai dai. They were rallying the people. Runzisa national television. This is not taboo what we are doing. You understand what I'm saying? We are not even an inch close to how Paraffin was advocating for issues. But because panenge paine a negation of power, panenge paine a dereliction of duty, panenge paine vanhu vanenge vafunga kuti they are neglecting their power, their will to lead. And because there's the issue of what should subsist, what should not. And so is it about leading people in a democracy, or it's more about for personal gain? And ataura ikati inini vanoti unorohwa munhu ari kuda kuenda kuvakuru kuti anoti kuna chef hampanoita taura naye hampanoita munyaradza kuti awane promotion handiti. But it's still kuti if government itself realizes the need for us as an industry, they will realize kuti no vachatonga zvakanaka vagotonga vachingotonga isi tichingosekesa vanhu tichingotaura kuti hai vakuru chimudhunduru chambuya hai chituku hacho asi hai pakanaka achidonzerwa here achikonzerwa chese here. Why? Because these are questions that they might not think of. When we create my scripts here, tinogara. I know creatively as different companies, but we sit in a creative team. But it's carefully thought. And ivo pavanonge vachita maprograms avo handiti vanogarawo pasi handiti vogara but kana vakasagara pasi isi tichagara pasi handiti toti hai nyenyenye waifanira here kutora vhidhiyo neni paya handiti kangozoti atora akasi hazvaifanira kuitika ndori vatobamo handiti tobamo kana aita vhidhiyo neni zvine chimiro chipi kana munhu waya akapfeka bvarubvaru zvine chimiro chipi nekuti zvine zvisina kufungwa. Pane anenge azviita achifunga kuti zvakanaka asi isu ibasa redu kuti aibodo hazvina kunaka izvo. You understand? So isusu as creatives, we will remain in the same position because the government has chose to make sure that we are starved of the right requisite tools to create. If you go and do an assessment of Magamba TV, Bus-Stop TV, Simuka Comedy, you realize that these youngsters, they have built media houses, they've built organizations from nothing, right? But if you go and interrogate other people that have gotten money from government, they have actually built nothing from money. They've spent. So who is pro-development? When we talk about these issues, guys, these are real issues we are talking to. Real issues.
Yeah.
But
I want to say, how have you been affected as your content has not found its way on national platforms, on national TV? And I've seen you have gone out thanks to social media and the new media platforms. You're actually attracting more viewership. But how does this affect you as an industry?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I think it can also be seen as a form of validation, right? Kuti, you're not mainstream because, again, issue of the proverbial threat is looming over you, right? So it's saying, okay, no, your content does not fit this format of broadcasting trukuda for mass consumption. I think when we started, like Doc was saying, it's not from handouts or anything, building from nothing. We've always been occupying that alternative space. It was never about how do we get ourselves onto national broadcast and be quote unquote part of that system. But it's actually creating alternatives that have alternative narratives that have a level of independence or an editorial policy that isn't then infringed upon because you have to toe this particular way of content production, etc. So I think independence is something that you thrive for in the creation of your content and how you maneuver as an organization. So Yanga training yakasimba, but I think it's more necessary than going through the route my handouts, like DRC was mentioning before. I think again the level of threat comes across when we are seen to be doing well and being independent in a place where that dependence sometimes can allow for you to align to certain ideologies in order to make it. And vachiyanga vakazvitaura kuti kune kuzowanikwa big G handisindada.
So his speech yana tongogara vawina hondo, but they're still for us Magamba, Bus-Stop and Simuka now, the stage we are right now, we can say now it was a good riddance because we worked very hard and we managed to, but we need those spaces to be opened. We can't 2021 ndara tingoni one television. we need those spaces to be opened, not nemuzvokwadi.
Handiti wopuwa dhara pane dhara TV handiti hatidi kuti dhara TV inge ichiita the same format iro neuyu handiti ngapavhugwe zvekuti the week inofanira kuonekwa paTV vanhu vaone kuti pano so that whoever is in power ari kuziva kuti ndiri kutonga nokuti pane vari kuvona kuti ndiri kutonga sei nevari kutaura ndiri kutonga sei. Isusu will never stop speaking pama-alternative platforms because pane misstep kuti aiwa kavakuru aiwa kaimimi vanotevedzera aiwa kaimimi madai aiwa kavakomana nevakomana tingaita here seat of Harare vakomana tingati vakomana muri kutaura zvoti vanzi hey imimi muchadza kutora mararaya alright kana muchiti marara acho bhora mupa 2 million handiti alright kumamboiti here imimi vakomana huyai tiite campaign yakadai each suburb pachayo handiti mabvuku. If you ever rallied them down mabvuku toti mimi clean society yenyu toti muungadze marara ose timaisa apa taisa apa toenda tinotsvaka motikari kwakatundirwa marara tinorasa kupomona kuti kurasa marara ndizvo handiti makambozviita here havasi vambozviita varungo takamirira kudai. That on its own is a failure ye-city council. If they have never moved my societies kuno isusu tikati kuma societies right now if they come and say bus stop magamba let's work together on a project kuti kuti rally vanhu kuti vadi vakline mavanogara that has never happened. If that happens, do you think kuti nicharamba kuti haiwa because it's not like toda kungotaura zvakashata cheteka. We also want to see progress, we want to see democracy, we want to see development, we want to see kuti zvinhu zvifambire munhu zvakanaka. Pazvinofamba zvakanaka opportunities for us they also open up.
No. I also want to find out from you, Derek, you know, today I'm in your town. I want I want to find out from you. Will you be high when you do some of these things?
Never. Never. Actually, puti kana kunwa. Yeah, I've never tested that. Never. Ndinongodya chete. I don't think. Yeah, I never. We try by all means to live truthfully into the characters that are targeted during that time.
What does it take, Doc, to be able to immerse yourself into a character and send out that message, you know, in a manner? Because having watched most of your comedy, there's always an educative aspect to it. So what does it take to immerse yourself in that character and bring out the character and bring out the education?
So I think a character takatofunda kuna navanzi yakwe vana DRC nokuti chino chakatanga ndochakachenjedza. Me as a stand-up comedian, as a comedian who then makes a crossover kuzonotanga ku-actor, you are learning from those that are there, that have established themselves there. But one thing that I have learned is you need to practice, and the practice makes perfect. You need to, if you want to do something, you have to practice and practice, right? So in Indonesia, my characters are saying my imitations and stuff. So I immerse myself mukuti kandi kati nasi ndiva munangagwa vandoda kumanya navo anditi I watch as much literature pamusoro pavo zvakanyanya ndikati ndimaisamba ndikati ndiDerek ndikati ndi outspoken ndikati ndimi Dhara ndikatofunga kuti Dhara ndoda kuvatevedzera matauriro avo neneika handokusevenzai zvekuti pamundozoti ndakutanga kutaura nezvenyu ndiye ndakutoti vanondoti aiwe you get it.
So he's talking about the process. The process in it when an actor, when you're getting a script, it's a process. Who you are, where you are, why are you doing that, and that process. Yeah.
You know, when some watch Outspoken, look at you and think, no, but I think boys did the Nyayo you know.
But problem I'm not man. Me magadiba man. But I do loud. Loud. But I think it's that thing. If you understand the character that you're trying to play, and if you play it convincingly, unofana uchifamba mrodunza but it's chamba unodziwanza. But you anonymous alcoholics. I think that's that's living the actual character in a sense. Yeah.
Also the practical element of saying kuti the training itself, right? Kuti you cannot start doing something masanga. And also kuti institutionally I've been fortunate enough kuti I've worked with Magamba TV, I've worked with Bastop TV, and every time I've been there apana msota kangoti zvoni right vakomana ngati shute ichi nichi anditi it's a process, it's a there is a science to it. Let me speak kuti pane script anditi pane a brainstorming, pane kunzi so pa brainstorming pagadzirwa script panzi right before that so pachada kudai pacha costuming, like there is so much effort that is put in making sure the final product comes out. Zvekuzoti when you realize that a Simka comedy we patakaita upscale in trying to produce video content, because actually primarily we're doing stand-up comedy, and it was because of the lessons I learned from Magamba and Bastop kuti there is that conceptualizing kuti you cannot just put on the scarf and tell hey ayo atingotavugu camera. So there is a process to it. That process makes everyone a cut above the rest. You'd ask yourself, but you Bastop, no. They don't just start speaking DRC. There's an element of effort. There's an element of hard work put in there. If I'm not mistaken, these guys, they take time because they don't work in the thought process. So that on its own, it makes people when they see it, DRC akaipa, outspoken akaipa. But you saw how my flip writer my characters.
Yeah. That's the other trick we have now. Since industry use nama structures and whatever, we are not saying to munu kana venu bora kuna ma structures hariko. Saka trick ilipo now camera kana yabatwa ni munu wese. And a lot of people they end up they are stand-up comedians, they are comedians. Iyo story kana wachingo sheka oro. And then another Ndochi, and we have this it's unfortunately a lot of people want to pay sira vakusasiya chakanaka nechipi chakaipa nechipi wangofunga kuti ngomuka makuseni ngobata wangodaza but mvura hakuna and saka chazopedzisira chisina make sense. On Tesla anatiki Rhodesian government during that the pioneers munyika munomu they form a character and tiki saka vakapedzisira a lot of people vangafunga comedy yese ndi tiki. Yes. Vakujamba ma topical issues nevanhu vaitaura ma topical issues zvakanaka iwo vanhu iwo hasibo vanhu yese tiki ndiye comedian wenyu ndo munhu wenyu uyu saka ma dictators they are very clever. Onugisra clown up. Ndosa kwachivhara kana tione ma TV akawanda because unofana kuona clown mese moenda ikoko and then to lose focus. Yeah.
Now, we are going to also have conversation with Lucky, who's part of Bastop TV, and we were supposed to also speak to Gonyeti, but unfortunately she has a bereavement and couldn't be available. But
comedy comedy in democratic processes is just like constitution. I think comedy is very important in creating dialogue, in making people engage in critical issues. Comedy is very critical in simplifying key democratic issues and simplifying to ordinary people and making it relatable to ordinary people. That's how we use comedy from Bastop TV's side of views.
But I want to thank you very much, Tim, for making this time. I know I took you outspoken from a very busy schedule and you were working on a script and writing stuff, but you did come here to open up so that people understand the work that you do apart from just interacting with your script. It's a very amazing opportunity that we had, but I would allow the three of you in closing to immerse yourself in a character of your choice and give us your concluding remarks.
Zvandangodza tere ndezvoti like wamuchanzwa from ikoyo like ani mari yangu saka pese pamunona like kamubvunze mari yangu because like itori problem. In fact he's unlucky. I don't even know why he's called like. He's unlucky. But no, macomedians anangana problem. Vatoriwo vanhu. You know, I'm not a comedian, I'm a comedic writer. Tenchungoitwo chiterowo ana bus stop because ndano tambidzwa bag ma 1.5 anga achitaurwa vachitoenda mahotera ma 1.3 thousand. Saka chida kungoperekedzwa vanhu.
Unfortunately today ndasandisi mabasa saka andikwanisa kupinda muany character, you know. Ndikufamba nevakuru nhasi sezvamuri kuona tina Mudara panapa, saka ukangoita zvisiri nana Mudara panapa zvinonetsa. Ameno Mudara ndotaura here.
Hai poto ipapa todedemura nditi wagona very good. Ai tatofara nditi ndimuri kuna ndo kwatrevero tref takamunyima edu license atambokura anditi achikura totsompa asai totenda nokuti dana amusaruri sitakasarura asi mamusaruri very good. Asi ndoda kungoimbisa vanhu ivo hurumende yangu yekuti tichauya ikoko anditi motipa mari togoshanda basa tichakushandai asi nemari yenyu yamune matipa tinotenda very good. Uye mataura nyaya yalaki une mari yomukomana chatuma vakomana taura namai zuro mai vakati hai kana laki futi wakatora chikwereti kwavo anditi kumucheka yenyika achida kusonera vana matwins. Una matwins ka unogona une ruoko rwangu kutora matwins iye akakangopotsa anditi ndakati vakomana vakazvivhindikiti asi hai akagona saka chitotenda anditi uye laki wadzorera mari yavavo mari yamai anditi unyika yarifa chimudhudhuru chambuya muchachiona chakanaka sokuti heki zvokuti kana Satani afari
pamayouth apa mamuchiti chimudhara masirira pamayouth kuti todi manje kumaareas
hai ndo saka makovana tina tobamu anditi takati bodo uchavuya muchimanya iye fambe imimanye tevere iye fambe imimanye tevere izvozvo idevelopment anditi mbeva inomwezha inotevegwa akati gorere gonza anditi eka imbeva inomwezha muchitevera mbeva zhinji hadzina marisha asi aya maavona saka hai makanaka imwe murega zvinodhaka anditi munamata Mwari Jehovha.
Amazing. Thank you very much for joining us on this program, Free Talk, proudly brought to you in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation and Heart and Soul TV and Radio. And in the house, I had a cast of satire manufacturers, satire deliverers, and satire inebriators. It was an amazing thing to sit among humble citizens of Zimbabwe who want to develop this nation, and they do it in the way that they understand how. And the issue that is there is that for all of us as Zimbabweans to understand that comedy is not an attack. Comedy is a reflection of who we are. Comedy is an understanding of issues around us in a different format, a format that allows us to laugh at ourselves, allows us to get out of the stresses of our lives, but not forgetting the stresses of it. It's a balancing, delicate balancing act. I've been honored. Thank you very much for joining me, gentlemen. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for watching. This is the Free Talk. This is Free Talk in partnership with Frederick Newman Foundation, our partners in free speech. Free speech is the center of development of any nation.